Good morning. Today is the 14th of February 2025. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. I'm going to go through today's levels, and before we start that, let's look to see what news could move the market. We had 8:30 news come in, which is a bit muted. I don't think we saw much happen in 8:30. Where are we now? But here we had a bit of an indecision candle, slightly bullish, but not as big as the news we had yesterday, that big sell-off. Where was that? 8:30 yesterday, that candle there, so a bit different. And we do have a bit more news later on. Business inventories at 10 AM, so keep an eye on that. That could move the market. And 3 PM there is a Fed speaker, so just be wary of those times. Okay, so on my screen we're looking at the hourly time frame for the MES or the ES. This is the S&P 500 E-mini futures. We've had, let me open up my pen. Look at this. So I marked this area of was at the time supply, and then when we broke through yesterday it became demand, came back down, came straight into that area and bounced. So that's why it's always good having these levels marked up. So I'm going to watch this area again, actually, pre-market low for potential bounce, double bottom, something like that. Otherwise, we can watch it for the breakdown and the retest back down into the next area. We do have, this is quite a big area here for a demand zone, so I'll go down to the 15-minute, try and narrow it down. Hopefully we can just find a smaller area we can watch for a potential bounce. And I probably could keep an eye on this area again, 60.95. You can see we came back, retested it yesterday, held it, lost it, came back out, but we've yet to come back to retest. So keep an eye on that. We could see a little bit of a bounce in that 6100 area, 60.95, as sort of overhead. Okay, so we've got this area. Let's just mark it up now. So what I'm looking for is the green candle prior to the big move down, and if it's down here I'm looking for the red candle prior to the big move up. So this is my area of demand. In fact, I've not drawn it, it's the hourly, but I will refine it then down in the 15. We can do that in a minute, but that's the area we're watching for potential rejection, and maybe we've already seen it. So let's just go down to a lower time frame. So we've got this big area and we've got a smaller candle we can adjust it to. So that's the green candle I'm looking for. So this is the area I'm looking for the rejection. And where were we? Look at that, smack bang on. Put my pen up. So 2 plays. Yesterday's high is the potential. Why is it coming out so thick? There we go. Yesterday's high, we can watch for a rejection. We do have an area, 15-minute area of supply above, and that's as we pull back up into this area. Big area confluence as well. And volume-wise, it's the starting of a volume shelf, but that's a bit below at the bottom of that shaded area. Let's just put that back in. I don't know, it's annoying. I think my keyboard shortcuts keep flicking that over. Right, so let's get some levels. So pre-market high, break and retest long, 161.44 into new highs from more recent highs. Not all-time highs, because we do have this area above. So let's just mark this area up as well, so we've got that for future reference. I do like this topping tail, so that's our next area of. So that's the all-time high. Is that all-time highs? It is oh, not all-time highs, not until back here. But that's the next area we can watch for a bounce. This is our all-time highs area. Well, I'm not going to mark anything up there because we're far from there. Okay, so that's just sets up our chart a little tiny bit. So what I'm looking for is a break and retest of pre-market high, 61.43, break and retest into this grey shaded area, 61.60 to 61.50, and then up there I'll be looking for to take profit if I'm long, or to find a short. And for the short, I quite like what we're seeing. in this area of supply. We push up into that area. It's invalidated now because it's taken out the top of that grey area, so it's not an area I'll be interested in. But if it does, once it come up, come back down, come back up and retest it, come down and then get some sort of pullback to retest that area there. I'll be looking on a lower time frame for the entry. So depends how, you know, I'm pretty flexible whether it just about breaks the top, but I like to think if it breaks out and comes back in, then it's invalidated that play. And you can see we bounced off of this area as well, so these areas are good areas to keep an eye on. There's a good bounce in pre-market low. Okay, so let's come up with a plan. I've not looked at the charts, I literally picked up the charts for the first time just a few minutes ago. Okay, so let's watch for a rejection up this 6160 area. Again, I want to see it come in, come back out, retest that zone somehow, but put in a lower high or equal high, and then come back down and then retest this pivot. I want to pull back really and just touch that zone before it drops down. That's what I'm looking for. That's the ideal trade. I may consider getting in here as a small risk, maybe adding to it if it pulls back into that area, so I'm in the trade in case it carries on going. So that's how I'm going to play that if we get there. If we break pre-market high, I'm looking for a break and retest of pre-market high into that region. Let's scroll back in a bit. If we lose pre-market low, I will consider a break and retest. I really want to see it come out of that zone, that area of demand, back down. And then we are also watching this area for a double bottom as well, for a bounce. So if it comes back into that zone and we can't break through pre-market low, maybe something like that, I'll be looking forward to continue the trend up. So the overall trend, something we've been watching for a few weeks now, or definitely a few weeks. We had this pattern setting up, something like that, and you can see we've finally broken out. So I'll be considering a retest back down into that region, 6100, maybe 6190 area for a bounce. So that would be the break and retest of this structure as well, and in fact it goes with that area of demand anyway. So let's keep an eye on that region, and that is 6100 down to 6093. I think that's pretty much it for ES. Try and keep it really simple. These are the bread and butter trades we'll watch for every day. So just recap: break and retest pre-market high, long; break and retest pre-market low, short. Also watching this area for a bounce, and I'll be watching this area up here for a rejection. And if we get down into this region, which is a shade area of 6096, I'll be looking for a potential bounce. Look at all these bottom tails down here. This is liquidity waiting to trigger again. 1 second. So if we get back down into this region down here, potentially we've got a nice area of liquidity waiting for orders, and I'll be looking for a long in that area, 6096. SPY, 1 second. I can hear something moving behind me. I think it's just rubbish in my bin. And SPY, exactly the same. Let's go back to the hourly. These are all-time highs, I believe. Yep, new all-time. That's all-time highs, and we're getting close to it. Didn't quite break it in pre-market high. So let's watch for a break and retest of pre-market high into new all-time highs. And remember, every time we make a new all-time high, so we made a new all-time high here, rejected, all-time high here, rejected, and then we just went sideways for a bit. New all-time high here. Hang on, let's see. Okay, so we made a new all-time high here, and we kind of pulled back a bit, but that's in pre-market. That was an all-time high there. We made a new all-time high here, and look at that, and then just that's a big rejection down. And then not a new all-time high. So we'll see what happens when we make a new all-time high. Maybe we can expect the next day or two to sell off again. That seems to be the current theme of what happens. I believe history likes to repeat itself. Okay, so let's look for a bounce in this region here, 608 for a bounce. Otherwise, a break and retest a pre-market high down into yesterday's high. So I'll watch both of those levels, 509, but basically 510 and 610. Sorry, 610 and 650. And then if we lose this area, let's keep an eye on this 605.50 area for a bounce as well. SPX, broken that structure. We've been watching for some time. Look at that. That is yesterday. Talk about we broke out, came back down and retested that area and then pushed up. So that's what we're looking for, is that type of break. You can see it quite clearly there. Tops, 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 tops of candles, breakout, retest. You know, we're not exactly on that line, but it's the break and retest we like to look for long. If we're looking for longs, we want to be above all-time highs for that. We don't want to be going long into all-time highs where we can see it reject. And likewise, if we're looking for a short, we want to be below this all-time high area of 60.2150, 61.2150 I meant, because we don't want to be going trying to find a short if we've broken out and we're holding it as support. So keep an eye on this level today. We are opening up pretty much where we closed yesterday, so we should be opening up in this region somewhere. And then all the other levels are as they have been for the last few days. NQ, it's finally broken this pivot area and it's retested. Look at that for a beautiful break and retest. Nice break and retest in the pre-market. I wasn't keeping an eye on it in the pre-market, else I probably would have tried to gone for that. So let's keep an eye on pre-market high, break and retest at 22.48, 22.150, that area there, break and retest long. Let's keep an eye on a bounce, a double bottom down here at pre-market low. Otherwise, if we lose pre-market low, let's come out of this area of was support, now it's demand. 22.042, break and retest short as well. And then if we get back down into this region here, 21.800, I'll refine. We can get rid of that now because that's now gone. We've got a new area to watch for a bounce, and that is what we put in yesterday. So we use that candle there, which is a red candle before a big green move. It could also, you know, it corresponds with the previous candle as well. So keep an eye on this area, 21.800 for the bounce. And what's significant about this area? We've got this point of control right down at this point as well. Big area of confluence. So let's keep an eye on this area. Quite fancy that for a bounce. QQQ. Again, the same. Not quite breaking these highs here, but break and retest a pre-market high at 537. Otherwise, if we lose pre-market low, it's going to be a hard break and retest because we've got these pivots here. So just watch for pre-market low 334 for a bounce. If we lose that area, come back up and retest it for the short. And then we've got this 530 area we can watch for a bounce as well. We've been through it a few times. We can probably refine that now to that candle there, like we have done on the NASDAQ. Again, that's the red candle before a big green move. So 528 to 529 for the bounce. Let's keep an eye on this area. We can obviously keep an eye on yesterday's low, but this region here. Oil, which has been a bit of a strange one last few days. We put in this bottom. Look at this for a change of market structure. Broke that downtrend, pushed up, gave it all back, double bottom, perfect double bottom here. Kind of, I know it's not quite a higher high or a higher low I meant, but we've put in this bottom, and then let's see where we're going to get into next. I think our only rejection point, we've got this, let's clear that. We've got this zone here we can watch for rejection, and we've got a bounce zone down here. Okay, I'm looking for the opposite candles before a big move. So these are two areas to watch today. So we watch for a bounce back down in this 70-50 zone. Otherwise we watch for a rejection up in this 72-50 zone. And if we lose this area, we can watch for a break and retest short, but we do have pre-market high and pre-market low in between there to watch as well for the break and retests. Gold. It's proven to be strong still. Look at this, perfect uptrend. Yet to take out that pivot there, and we're putting in a not quite a new high, but we are still looking pretty strong. So what I do quite like, a break and retest over this pre-market high to put in a new all-time high. We've got 3,000 as a psychological number, so let's just mark that up. That's our psychological number, all-time high number as well, so I imagine we'll be heading towards that number. Otherwise, if we're looking for a bounce, then it's got to be around here somewhere. We've got starting of a volume shelf. You can refine that area. We've got the 200 moving average as well, and we've got this area confluence all lining up. If we were to go down into the 15 to refine that area, is there a better area? There sure is. There's a big area, unfortunately, so you might even want to go down into the 5 minutes to find an even better area than that. No, not really, that is it, that area there. Big area, so let's keep an eye on this for potential bounce area. Let's go back up to the hourly. That area there. Pre-market high, 29.64, break and retest long. And I think that's it really. Don't really like rejecting strong stocks, but like try trend continuation. That's why if we come back down to this region, I do quite like the bounce like that. RTY, it's been in a bit of an hourly downtrend. You can see that clearly there. We were in this downtrend, then we went sideways, and then back, and then we've kind of just been sitting in this sideways trend for some time now. You know, we need to break out above there or break down below here. We don't really want to go sideways. But if we're looking for something for today, notice the point of control, where the volume goes through, tops of these pivots, bottoms of pivots, tops of pivots here, tops of the pre-market high pivot. So let's watch for a break and retest long. We need to get above these pivots here, 2300. We've been holding that for some time now, at least a few days. So 2300 break and retest, I do prefer that than pre-market high. If we lose pre-market low, let's watch for the break and retest short. And then we do have yesterday's low, which is a bit of a area to watch for a bounce, and that's at 2265, 2270. And then we've got this region here. Look at all these bottom tails and these bottom tails here. So there's plenty of liquidity down there watching for a bounce. So let's just keep an eye on these levels for bounce. So 2224, 2254, big area. I just want to see where the volume is once it updates. So we've got volume just there, so that's a good point, a good bounce place there out of any. 2254 bounce. Okay, YM. All I'm seeing is this bear flag setting up. This that kind of pattern. Not the best drawn one, I know. So we're kind of putting in that pattern. So break and retest a pre-market high to break out of that pattern. If we lose pre-market low, it's going to be hard, but we can watch for break down below this point of control. We do have a bit of volume below as well, so it'll be hard. So pull it, and also let's watch this 44,000, 44,200 for the bounce, and then we've got this 45,150 over here for the rejection as well. And then finally Bitcoin, kind of slowing down a bit now. Look at this. So we've got decrease in price, decrease in volume, showing that there's weakness now in the sellers, and we're just slowing down. So slowing down, what do we expect when we see it slow down? Kind of a reversal pattern. Maybe this is the pattern we're looking at. Point of control is right down here as well. Look at that, plenty of volume, all in this area of confluence as well. You don't need the volume profile to show you that, you just see where all the action is. So 98,000 is our key level to watch today. So if we can break over 98,000, come back and retest, look for a long into 100. Another 100 is another key level to watch. If we can't get above 98, then our next area to watch is this 92 level, and we know that because we've been there so many times previously. And that's it really. If I'm looking at Bitcoin today, I really want to see it break above pre-market high and get above this 200 moving average. If we can get above there, then I'll be looking for a long. If we get below pre-market low, I'll be looking for a short. And that's basically my Bitcoin play for today. I trade MBT, which is the Bitcoin futures. And I think that's it. Let's have a look at order flow quickly on the ES. As you can see, there's not a great deal happening. Putting in this bottom pattern on the prices, 2 minute price around at 6:45, 7 AM. 8:30 was that news drop we had, but we've just been pushing price up, and we have been increasing our aggressive buying as well. So it's looking as expected. With regards to the 30 minute point of control, again there's not much we can see. So we could potentially have this area here. There's a few point of controls in that area. 61.40. We know there's been some big sellers up here before. I'm really looking for a line. They're not really that well aligned. So 61.44. Where does that go on the grand scheme of things? 61.44. Basically, it's this high here. So just keep an eye. So potentially, we know we've had sellers up there before, so potentially we might have sellers up there again for a double top. So this is a pre-market high, break and retest long, or we can watch it for the rejection because it's coming in. It is this area of supply we've been talking about previously. And that's it. Let me just quickly recap my levels I'm watching on ES today. I'm watching for a rejection up in this area of supply, 61.60. I'm watching for a break and retest of pre-market high to continue this uptrend. If we lose that, then I'm looking to hold this pre-market. If we can't get above pre-market, I'm looking for maybe a lower high and then come back down, retest for the short in this area. And then I'm looking for a bounce in the pre-market low area, 61.21, 61.20. Otherwise, I'm looking for it to break that area, come back, retest short, and then we've got this 6100 area to watch for a bounce. So there's a few plays we can watch, quite a few actually, but I want to keep it simple. And that's it. Thank you for watching. I'll be on the other stream, which will be the live order stream, which I just showed you. Any questions?